to order our city council meeting, the regular city council meeting for Monday, June 28th, 2021. I'm coming in for relief for Mayor Manalo. I just want to hope for get well, get some rest. Um, and so I just need to say this part. So in terms of public meetings, pursuant to Governor Newsom's executive order N-29-20, members of the Daly City Council and staff will participate in this meeting via teleconference. Members of the public are encouraged to watch the meeting via live stream. It's the City Council meeting live stream at https://bit.ly/dailycityjun28. And if you want to participate in this meeting, I'll hand it off to Ms. Leilani Ramos for the instructions.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Public comment may be provided for specific agenda items, as well as the general public comment period under the public appearances oral communication portion of this meeting. In accordance with the Brown Act laws governing regular meetings, the City Council is not authorized to speak to or take action on any other items in this meeting. During the general public comment period and for each item on the agenda, staff will ask those members of the public who wish to comment to click the raise hand feature to raise your hand to speak on that agenda item. For those joining by phone, press *9 to raise your hand. Please note that members of the public must wait for staff's prompt in connection with each agenda item before using the raise hand function. Also important, staff will announce the name of the last person whose hand was raised upon calling for public comment, and that person will be the last verbal comment for the item. If additional speakers queue up after the last called speaker, the Vice Mayor may continue to allow public comment if time allows. Otherwise, public comment may be emailed to cityclerk@dalycity.org to be added to the record and shared with the City Council. When you hear your name called, staff will send you a request to unmute your microphone, and you may begin speaking. Each person will receive a maximum of 2 minutes to speak and may only speak once. When your 2 minutes have been reached, we ask that you wrap up your comments. Speakers not in compliance with the council's rules of decorum will be muted.
Great, thank you, Leilani. Can we get call to order? Okay, now next on the agenda item is the pledge of allegiance, pledge to the flag. There we go.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Roll call, please.
Mr. Buenaventura,
Present.
Dr. Rod,
Present.
Ms. Di Giovanni,
Present.
Mr. Sylvester,
Glenn Sylvester, present.
Ms. Manalo. Thank you.
Sapona, can we get a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda?
Second.
Second, you know, first and a second. All right. Oh, sorry about that. I was supposed to approve the minutes first, right? Motion to approve the minutes for the regular meeting of June 14th, 2021. Back that up.
Motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Great. Thank you. Okay, so an motion to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Okay. Great, thank you. And now we have a motion to approve the consent agenda, unless any items would like to be pulled.
Mr. Vice Mayor.
Oh, was that it? Yeah, thank you, Pam.
Oh, no, it's okay. I'd like to pull item 2, 4, and 11, please. Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Okay.
With the exception of items 2, 4, and 11, I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Okay, thank you.
And a second it?
First and second, so we'd like to approve the consent agenda and pull items number 2, 4, and 11. All right. So let's start with item number 2, accepting and appropriate 4Rs grant funding from the County of San Mateo Office of Sustainability.
Good eve- Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members. The County of San Mateo Office of Sustainability Waste Reduction Section awarded the city a $5,000 grant for fiscal year 2021-2022 for a community container modernization and standardization through its 4Rs grants program to encourage reuse, waste reduction, recycling, and rot composting. These funds will allow the city to expand last fiscal year's project to upgrade the outdoor community bins located at Bayshore Heights Park and Lincoln Park to new 3-stream stations that contain a receptacle for organics, mixed recyclables, and landfill. Standardizing outdoor community bins will reduce confusion for mismatched bins, increase proper waste management, mimic the waste streams that are available to all residents and businesses, as well as emphasize the practices that our youth have learned and performed at school. Promoting this knowledge and practices in every aspect of the public's life, home, school, and community will create long-term sustainability that extends beyond Daly City and throughout San Mateo County. Staff is available to provide any additional information desired by the mayor or council members.
Vice Mayor. I just wanted to make sure that the public knew about this item because they've been working behind the scenes pretty hard, even though it was COVID, to win something like this in sustainability. And as we just heard from the earthquake, we have climate change. The staff has really been working hard, and I commend all of you, Leilani, Stephen, city manager, and everyone Public Works. And know that we are a city that continues to serve our community through whatever we go through. So I just wanted to say thank you very much. And the community has done a great job as well. So thank you. Looking forward to more. Thank you very much. Thank you, Vice Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilmember DiGiovanni. Any additional comments from my colleagues? So do we have to do a vote? Yes, okay. So seeing any more comments, motion to approve this item.
So move. I'll second.
Thank you. We have a first and a second. This is a
Voice vote is fine.
Yes, okay. So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Great. That's agenda item passes. Okay, so the next agenda item is number 4, accepting and appropriating a $23,000 grant from the Daly City Public Library Associates. And I'll hand it over to the staff.
Hey, good evening. Many of you will remember that Victoria Magbalang, the Executive Director of the Daly City Public Library Associates, gave a presentation on this generous grant for which the library is very grateful at our previous meeting, the first meeting this in this month. The associates provided this grant to the library to purchase a laptop dispensing kiosk, which would automate the checkout of in-library use computers. It stores the computers, it recharges them and wipes them clean so that there's privacy and security for the users of the computers. This contribution was attributed to a grant from the Carl Gellert and Celia Berta Gellert Foundation, as well as the generosity of the members and sponsors of the Daly City Public Library Associates.
Great, thank you so much, Chela. I'd like to open this space up for my colleagues to say anything. I guess I'll point to Councilmember DiGiovanni.
Oh, thank you, Vice
Go
Mayor.
for it, go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, Shayla, you know that even though we spoke about this item and it was given to us before, people have already responded, and I guess you already heard that, to the kiosk. And that was exciting news to get phone calls that they are learning, they feel comfortable. Even some seniors, it was easy to use. It's easy to use. Maybe we can get more in the future, but we are really like moving forward, and that's going to be fantastic when we do more hiring. And the sky's the limit. Hopefully I can say that safely with the earthquake, but hopefully looking forward to our libraries, well loved, and all the staff. You guys are amazing, and adding to the staff. So thank you very much for everything. It's exciting times, and for the community to enjoy our libraries. And I'm sure the Vice Mayor, I know he loves the libraries as well, and my colleagues. Thank you, Vice Mayor. Thank you, Sheila.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember DiGiovanni. Councilmember Sylvester.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Councilmember DiGiovanni, thank you for pulling this item. I wanted to comment on, in case folks don't understand what this kiosk does. You know, you can walk up and we become more efficient by providing these computers, and to include computers that have been donated. But then at the same time, I want the public to know that we are ensuring your safety as well. You can be on the computer, such as the sites that you've surfed while you had it, any documents that you have created, and you know, to ensure the security. And when it's said that the computers are wiped, you know, normally to wipe a computer, one who is very computer literate, he or she would have to go through, say, each folder and says, nope, this doesn't belong here. Nope, this doesn't belong here. But in this particular case, an image is created, to my understanding, of what the factory set settings, basically, when you first open up the computer, how it should have been set, should have been configured, and then you create an image from it. And subsequently, when you return it, rest assured that all you have to do is push a button, plug up the computer, of course, and everything is wiped and it is restored with a factory image. And I don't want to get too technical, because there's also something called free space. And if you don't wipe that free space, then any computer literate person can hack into that computer and retrieve the documents that you have erased. So the magic word here is wiped. And I think that's very, very important for the safety and security of our public who are utilizing these systems. I think getting this grant, we could have used it for the libraries in different areas, but we are addressing technology and we want to be more efficient at it. So I'd like to thank you for DCPLA, and to say it's going in the right place, because we will basically set the example that I'm sure others will follow. So thank you so much. And those are my comments. And thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Sylvester. Any other comments by any of my colleagues?
Just so you can see.
All right, so just I see Councilmember Benedictor, you have your microphone off? No, okay. So I just want to just say thank you to DCPLA. I think when we talk about the digital divide and giving accessibility, it's very, very important to have access to working computers and giving this access to them. And so I just want to say thank you. Okay, so moving on, can I get a motion to approve this agenda item?
So moved.
Go ahead, sorry.
Moved by Councilmember Buenaventura. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, second by Mr. Councilmember Glenn Sylvester. So all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, this agenda item is now approved. Moving on to agenda item number 11, commending Melva Gutierrez on the occasion of her retirement.
Good evening, Dr. Vice Mayor and council members. With your approval, I would be honored to read a resolution commending Melva.
Yes.
Go right ahead,
whereas-
Mr. Nevin.
Thank you very much. Whereas Melva Gutierrez is retiring on June 30th, 2021, concluding 33 years of dedicated service with the city of Daly City, And whereas Melva began her career in the Finance and Administrative Services Department in December 1987 as an account clerk 1 in the Utility Billing Division, where she was backup to the central cashier and earned the nickname Goddess Fortuna for her outstanding cash balancing abilities, and was later promoted to account clerk 2. And whereas Melva took on responsibilities in the accounting division starting in 1998, primarily supporting accounts payable, and was later promoted to account clerk 3. And whereas Melva was promoted to her present position as utility billing supervisor in July 2019, where she managed the customer call center and supervised all utility billing functions, including meter readings, utility bill preparation, account collections and reconciliations for over 23,000 customer accounts, and also oversaw operations of the central cashier and central services, including mail and parking meter collection. Whereas Melva was instrumental in the implementation of the latest utility billing software conversion to North Star Utilities and put in tireless hours of testing and troubleshooting of the software during the first year of her tenure as utility billing supervisor. And whereas Melva's career afforded her the opportunity to work under the leadership of 4 finance directors, whereas Melva consistently demonstrated her excellent customer service skills and willingness to help where help was needed. And now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Daly City that it does hereby commend Melva Gutierrez for her many years of dedicated and outstanding service to the Daly City community, and extends its very best wishes to Melva on the occasion of her retirement. This concludes the resolution, and on behalf of all of Melva's colleagues in finance, we applaud Melva for a career well done and wish her health and happiness throughout her retirement.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nevin. I'd like to open the space up to my colleagues.
Vice Mayor?
Go right ahead. Councilmember
Yeah, I
DiGiovanni.
just want to say, I know Melva, if you're watching this, and Mr. Nevin, I'm glad you were here to meet her and probably have known her prior. She is really one of a kind. And she has weathered through so much. And I know that our city manager has known her for such a long time, and Natalie and everyone. She's given so much, and thank you, Melva. If you're here listening, you gave so much dedication to our city, our community, your expertise, your communication skills, your professional skills, and you will be missed. And but we're wishing you the best on your retirement and your next chapter in your life. And that's 33 years of bravo, well done. And thank you for all of it. I appreciate it. We are better because of you. Thank you, Melva. Thank you very much, Vice Mayor.
Okay, thank you so much, Councilmember DiGiovanni. Councilmember Sylvester.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Dasmuk Bawal. Melba, I don't think I've had the opportunity to meet you. And as far as I'm concerned, you know, those who are basically not in the limelight and who don't want to basically take on accolades, in this particular case, from what I've heard this evening, you are basically one of a kind and a very valuable person to our staff here in Daly City. It was mentioned this evening about a software upgrade. Yes, I have seen the software upgrade, especially when you pay your bills. And knowing that you had a part in that as a stakeholder to try different things. So what if this happens, or what if this happens? That's very, very invaluable. But for the most part, I wanted to leave you with this. I have a lot of respect for you and all of our folks in financing, especially here in Daly City. And I have a saying that you probably have heard before. If you watch those pennies, the dollars will take care of themselves. So thank you so much, Melba, for a job well done. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Sylvester. Anybody else? Councilmember Buenaventura, go right ahead.
Yes, thank you, Vice Mayor. So I actually have often wondered, and this is for maybe the city manager, what happens when we have like a distinguished employee like her who's done, dedicated really most of her professional life, I imagine,
Mhm.
working for the city. Well, I sure would like to have some kind of, I don't know, procedure or process where they are recognized either, you know, as a parting gift somehow, or I think we have something in the, I thought we had something in the walls about their name being engraved on something, but I think something special should be done. And maybe the city manager can let us know. And if not, maybe we can get something going. Because I mean, that kind of dedication really should be rewarded. So thank you.
Well, first, I appreciate the question and the acknowledgement of the hard work for sure. Thank you, Councilmember Buenaventura. Well, first, the first thing we do is we cry because they have so much institutional knowledge inside of their brains. And then we beg them to put all of that information onto paper for us. And then when that's not enough, they'd let us, typically someone like Melva would let us call her at home and say, how do we do this for a little while? Maybe for a couple months. But as far as the acknowledgement, I do believe we would, I believe that now that we're kind of re-entering, the department will be doing a party at people's comfort level as far as social distancing. And I do believe we have plaques. I want to say we have done them before, the little brass tabs that are in the rotunda, but I'd have to confirm that with HR. I think we did one for another tenured employee in finance, Mike Wilson. I want to say his name is down there, but I concur. It needs to be celebrated, but it's also sort of bittersweet because she's done so much for us. She's kind of a Daly City icon. So, but I appreciate the question. And Mr. Nevin, if you wanted to add to anything I've said, please go ahead.
Thank you. Yes, I did ask Melva if she would like to join this evening, and like I knew she would, she declined, but I will make her watch this tomorrow. We are actually going to have lunch honoring Melva tomorrow in finance. And I do know out in the rotunda, I believe it's for employees that have worked more than 25 years. They're all on there. And Melva is currently on there now.
Great. Thank you, everyone. I guess anybody that gets the nickname the Goddess of Fortuna, you gotta mint that on there too when you put the placard on there. All right, so I guess that concludes our consent agenda. So I'd like to motion to open our public hearing.
Or do we need to approve that one?
Oh yeah, my bad. Motion to approve the commending for Melva Gutierrez on the occasion of her retirement.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Cool, we have a first and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, thank you. All right, so moving along, we have our public hearing. So do we have to do a motion to open the public hearing, or go ahead, Mr. Moon?
Well, actually, Mr. Vice Mayor, I was going to suggest, and I need to hear from my colleagues. I would suggest that given the mayor's absence tonight, because she's not feeling well, I would suggest that we continue item number, I think it's number 15, which is next on our agenda regarding the commercial cannabis district. I think this is an important enough issue that I think the full complement of the council should be in deliberation and in discussion of this item. Unless it's pressing and then unless we really need to decide the issue tonight, I would suggest that we move this item for when the mayor gets back and we can have everyone deliberate and discuss this item together. So that's my suggestion, and I'm interested in hearing what the others think.
I'll go ahead and open the floor if anybody else has any suggestions. Councilmember Sylvester.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. You know, we've been going around on this issue for quite some time. And the longer we delay, the more confusion that may set in. Like recommendations were made for particular areas, recommendations were made for distances, information was provided as to locations, as to nearby public facilities. And I think to continue to delay would, I do get it. And I'll have to concur. I think this should be something that the entire council should decide on. However, I think there'd be no harm in discussing and providing information about it, and it can be agendized for later, irregardless as to how the vote, if a vote is taken, or if we decide to move through with it. I just don't like delays, and so that's just my thoughts. Thank you.
Yes, Mayor.
Yes, Council Member DiGiovanni.
Well, given the fact that the Planning Commission has already heard it, and I do get, somewhat what they say, like, it would be good to have a full council. But we've had meetings before where one of us or one of us couldn't turn, and the staff has put a lot of time in this, a lot of time up to where we're at today. And they have other issues on their plate. And we know that our staff, we need to take in consideration. And I do think the mayor would, because she knows she's respecting the staff, because the staff has a lot more to do besides this moving forward. And I see that the applicant is here and his time as well. I would like, I know that we have to go along with one another, but I think that we should respect our staff as well. And I think if the mayor was here, she would say this same thing, and I'm speaking for her. But people get ill, unfortunately. But the planning is packed. They've got a lot of things going on there, and our city attorney and city manager, and a lot of meetings going ahead. And I would like to see if we could get this item, but that's just where I'm at. To the staff.
Mr. Mc-
Yes, Councilmember Buenaventura.
Thank you. So I think we should respect the mayor, quite frankly. And I'm not understanding why the courtesy isn't being extended over an item such as this, and when it can be deferred to the next council meeting. And so traditionally on the council, when an item is, when there's a request to have it be continued, it's usually granted unless there's a pressing reason why. And so I just don't understand why we're not extending that same courtesy over a subject matter that is important, I know, to the mayor. And so, and I respect Council Members Sylvester's inquiry into whether or not we can just have a discussion. I think that is really the same thing, because I think what is needed is her input as well into the discussion. And so when I talk about having a full complement of the council, that necessarily includes her input and not lack of it, so that we can all four just have the discussion together and then continue it to another day. And then we all engage in the same discussion again, but with her. So that's what I think we should do. I think it's, there's no harm in continuing with this to the next city council meeting. It is a big enough issue that we really should have everybody on the table. So, but that's my concluding remarks. Thank you.
I guess gauging fairness, I think, and the gravity of this issue, what would it take for it to be tabled for the next council meeting.
It sounds like, if I may, Vice Mayor, that Councilmember Benaventura is requesting a motion to continue to a date certain when the mayor is present. So you could take this in the form of Councilmember Benaventura's motion.
So we already have a motion on the floor. Can we get a second to table this item?
I'm assuming, I'm sorry if I made through the
Okay.
chair, Councilmember Benaventura, you would like a date certain not to have this tabled.
Right. So my motion is to continue this item to the next council meeting.
Okay.
Is
Thank
what it-
If I may, I'm sorry to interrupt, just for scheduling purposes, Rose, I don't know, are you at that meeting on July 12th? I know that Mike von Loncusen, who is instrumental in this item, is not. And so if I may suggest, if council wishes to table it, the second meeting in July might be a little bit better.
Yes, thank you, Sean. I am on vacation on the 12th.
All right. So I would ask that we continue it to the second council meeting in July. That's my motion.
So there's a motion on the floor. Is there a second? I guess I'll second it. Okay, so we'll have this item number 15 table till the second meeting in July. Is that correct?
Actually, it's a motion on the floor, so we probably need to vote on it.
Okay, sorry about that.
That's okay.
Is this a voice vote?
Given it's a secondary motion and there was some discussion, maybe we should just have a roll call on it.
Okay, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Buenaventura,
Aye.
Ms. Giovanni,
Pardon, I can't hear you. No,
Mr. Sylvester,
I can barely hear the city clerk. I assume it's called my name, and Glenn Sylvester, no.
Dr. Rod,
Yes.
We don't have a majority to continue this item.
So do we talk about it today then?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. All right, so okay, so we will continue to discuss item number 15, zone change 7Z-4-21-15008 rezone 1618 Sullivan Avenue to be included within the CC Commercial Cannabis Combining District. And I'll hand it off to Michael, please.
Thank you. I need to share screen. Just 1 second. Sorry, I have my kids with me tonight. Okay, can everybody see my screen? Good evening, Mayor, or not Mayor, council members present. This is a request by Dan Tialdi to change the zoning for the property at 1618 Sullivan Avenue to the Commercial Cannabis Combining District. This item went to the Planning Commission on June 1st and was recommended for approval to the City Council. For any of you who are unfamiliar with the project site, it's located generally southwest of the Sullivan Avenue and Washington Street intersection. 1618 Sullivan is the address. The proposal is to rezone the entire parcel to the Commercial Cannabis Combining District. The property is presently zoned commercial, retail, and office by the Sullivan Corridor Specific Plan and would be rezoned to commercial, retail, and office with the CC overlay under the current proposal. The existing building is a 2-story building that contains approximately 9,600 square feet and is occupied by 6 tenants, including all those listed on the screen. I won't read them, but you're probably familiar with it there next to the Jiffy Lube. The applicants indicated that the proposed retailer has expressed interest in a 2,000 square foot space in the building's second floor. The city council should be aware that if the rezoning is approved, the retailer could occupy any of the building spaces, again, subject to the limitations established by the overlay zoning district. The city council may recall that that overlay was established in March of this year and is presently in place. There are currently no applications, or the city's in the process of initiating the application process for cannabis retail sales, and we have received no applications to this point to establish any retail sales of cannabis in this opportunity zone. This is a photo of the site. Again, a two-story building located generally southwest of the Washington Street Sullivan Avenue intersection. It's pretty self-explanatory. Items for consideration. The property is not located within 600 feet of any school or youth center. The city council may recall that these were the two criteria for locational distancing established by the city council when the zoning, the overlay zoning district was adopted back in March. Also, there are no residences adjacent to the property. The nearest residential use exists across Washington Street in the mixed-use office apartment building situated at the northwest corner of Washington and Sullivan Avenues. That building is also owned by the Tialdis. Property is situated in an area generally occupied by retail, office, and automotive service uses. We've also consulted with the police department, and the police department's indicated that they have no objection to this location from their perspective. These are some of the adjacent uses to the north. There's a speedy oil change and tune-up center. Located to the south of the property is the backside of the, I believe it's an AT&T corporation yard. Across the street is an SFPUC, I believe, pumping station. It's a public utility there. Arco AMPM located northeast of the project site. And this is the AT&T sort of an office type corporation yard building located to the west of the project site. And then we went ahead and threw in, this isn't immediately adjacent, but across Washington Street is this mixed use with office on the bottom, apartments on the top type of building, again, situated at the northwest corner of Washington and Sullivan Avenues. Proposed rezoning is exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act. The Planning Commission did again review this item on the 1st of June and recommended that the City Council approve the zone change. The Planning Commission's concerns were outlined in the staff report. And if there's any questions, we are available to answer those. Thank you. And the applicant is here.
Vice Mayor.
Yes, Councilmember DiGiovanni.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Vice Mayor. Michael, may I ask a couple questions?
Yes.
So I know that my colleagues had voted for I believe it was a 600 feet buffer zone.
That's right.
And in that buffer zone, which I believe the Daly City Youth Health Center and the Daly City Partnership, are they included in that buffer zone? Because my understanding from looking at it on the maps, that it's less than 600 feet for the Daly City Youth Health Center that serves our mental health and prenatal care. And our Daly City Partnership, even as a recent, is helping our JESD parents, families, youth, and young children as well with many services. So if that is true, and then the Daly City Youth Health Center and the Daly City Partnership, was it included in the buffer zone when they decided that?
That particular facility has not been considered to be a youth center in the establishment of the opportunity area that's that this particular site would annex into.
So can you give me the history on that so at the 600 feet, so upon that was at our last meeting, correct? So
yes,
I'm just not understanding why our youth, it's a little disturbing, but our mental health issues is not included in the buffer zone. So if that's the case, then also included. My other question is, I believe I had another question before we go to public comment. So that's pretty sad because after COVID, people are suffering mental health issues and families. I don't understand why it was not included. Secondly, for our youth. Let's see, let me get this. Hold on just one second. Sorry about that, Vice Mayor. Apologize. Okay, so that would be for that particular question. And also, I'll save the others for after public comment. Oh, the apartments. So everybody was noticed, Michael, as well. So the apartments, because there are residents over in that area, or there's the apartments that across the street are from the In-N-Out, correct? So the In-N-Out was noticed as well. And so was the others, the residents in those apartments?
The residents of apartments as renters are not provided public notice.
Okay, just
California
the
law
owners, right?
requires the city to, it's just property owners.
Okay, just the property owners. Okay. Yeah, because I'm concerned about and I believe in that area as well, not included in the decision of the maps was places like sober living, halfway houses, which I know there's one that's pretty close, or halfway houses.
That's correct. Those are not considered youth centers or schools.
Okay, they were not included as well as
They are
the
not rule out
ordinance
criteria.
approved
That's
by
correct.
my fellow council members. Okay, thank you very much, and I'll hold the rest. Thank you, Vice Mayor, until after public comment. Thank you very much. Thank you, Michael.
Yes.
Thank you.
Do I have to have a motion to open the public hearing? I'm sorry.
I
Motion.
believe at this time, if there's council members that still have comments, it's not
Okay,
necessary. But
gotcha,
if you,
gotcha.
at some point, you will have to open it, yes.
Okay, all right, just checking. Are there any other comments by our colleagues or anybody regarding this item? I heard there was an applicant or somebody that represented the interests of this item. Okay. I'll open up to my colleagues if you have any comments. Before we open up to the public.
Vice Mayor, I'll defer if there are any public comments or if we hear from the applicant, I'll defer my comments for later. Thank you.
Okay. Would the applicant like to share their comments before we move forward?
I'm here. I don't have any specific comments, Vice Mayor. If there's questions, I'd be more than happy to answer any questions.
Great, thank you, Mr. Tialdi. I'd like to open up to public comment on this matter.
For those members of the public who wish to comment on item number 15, please click the raise hand feature to speak on that agenda item. For those joining by phone, press *9 to raise your hand. We have 3 raised hands, and the last called speaker is Francesca. When you hear your name, you will receive a request to unmute your microphone and you may begin speaking. Each person will receive a maximum of 2 minutes to speak. When your 2 minutes have been reached, please wrap up your comments. Speakers not in compliance with council's rules of decorum will be muted. And the first speaker we have is Christine Fuller.
Good evening, Honorable Vice Mayor, City Council, and staff. I have a lot of respect for my fellow colleague, Dan Tialdi, and his family. I've known them for many years. I am calling to the question on why, if it says youth centers, the Daly City Partnership and Mike Nevin health clinic, which serves the mentally kind of indigent people, have not been considered. Specifically, I think this is a 600 feet or less buffer zone. I don't understand. I say this with all due respect to all of the council. It's not in your neighborhood, clearly, okay? By the elimination all the way down to 6. This is a superiorly lower income neighborhood. I live here very near to Broadmoor Village. I've lived here 50 years. I am telling you and asking you why. I'm not opposed to a cannabis business. I am clearly not. Business is business. What I am opposed to, if all the rhetoric that we keep pushing for, the progressive movement for mental health, the progressive movement for the Black and brown communities, and I am part Española, so I'll speak for my Latinos, I don't understand why it's coming to a lower income neighborhood. I don't get it. Okay, so I say that with all due respect. I'm also calling to the question of how it was depicted for these care homes not to be inclusive. A lot of them on some of my blocks have, been in prison. They're out of prison. They're trying to rehabilitate themselves. There's an address, and I can give it to you privately, but it's directly across the street. There is one there, and I beg to differ with planning. I'm sorry, but there are 7 houses in the back of that location. So I don't know if they've been called upon, but all the apartment tenants have not been notified. And every apartment around here has tenants. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next, we have Makio Akima.
Hello, good evening, honorable city council members, and thank you for allowing me to speak today. This is not my first time here, but I did just want to echo some of the sentiments from council member D. Giovanni and Ms. Fuller. I really don't understand why the youth center is not being considered in your zoning, regardless of the population or the type of youth that is there. If we're trying to change the narrative and really propel mental health, we can't put a commercial cannabis store in a place where these children are already at risk and exposed to different things every day. So I really do think that 300-foot buffer, or from that specific youth center, is a problem that needs to be addressed. And I ask that you really consider the youth when you decide on this zoning ordinance. If the main goal is to prevent exposure and risk to the youth of Daly City, I believe that having a commercial cannabis store that close to a youth serving facility would be counterproductive to what we are trying to accomplish in our prevention work. I ask that, again, you just please take this into consideration in your work. And I do appreciate everything that you've been doing and trying to allow cannabis business to be open in a safe manner. But again, there really is no excuse when it comes to the youth. Again, I work closely with them from Thomas R. Policita, and they have already expressed a lot of discomfort with just the types of crowds that dispensaries can bring, as we have discussed, what kind of crowds hang around liquor stores. And I feel like there could be very, very similar things that come along with that. But again, thank you very much for your time and have a good evening.
Thank you for your comments. And last, we have Francesca Lomaton.
Good evening, City Council members. My name is Francesca Lamotan, and I am with San Mateo County Health's Community Health Promotion Unit. Stores in the community can play a vital role in residents' health. The types of products available and how they're promoted can especially impact youth. A study in Oregon looking at 8th and 11th graders found that exposure to cannabis advertising is common among youth. Youth most frequently reported seeing advertising on storefronts and online, and odds of exposure were significantly higher for certain groups, including youth in school districts with a closer average proximity to retail cannabis stores. More than 8 in 10 youth in either grade were exposed within districts where the average proximity to a store was less than 1 mile. You may want to consider how retail location and storefront advertising may impact youth and whether the proposed zone for retail cannabis is located in an area that youth might visit. Additionally, the 2018 to 2019 California Healthy Kids Survey for Jefferson Union High School District shows current cannabis use as 18% for 11th graders and 36% for non-traditional school students. I hope this information is helpful. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. That concludes public comment.
Great. Okay. So I'd like to close the public hearing. Yes. So motion to close the hearing, public hearing.
Motion to close.
I got first
Second.
and a second by Councilmember Sylvester. I'd like to open the floor up to my colleagues for additional comments.
I'll just wrap mine up. Vice Mayor, may I, before Councilmember Sylvester.
Councilor DiGiovanni, and then after you, Councilmember Sylvester.
Yeah, I have to express that the big concern is having even done our vaccination sites for the county at our Daly City Youth and Daly City Partnership parking lots, seeing a strong, when people talk about equity issues, and I know this council has expressed it a lot about always making sure every item that we have is equitable. And I remember Councilmember Buenaventura always saying about brown and black. I'm telling you, this community in that neighborhood is strongly Latinos and lower socioeconomics, a lot of renters. They utilize that Mike Nevin Center and along with our other county, which has been so helpful. And this COVID, again, as I expressed the last meeting, I can't say it enough, has impacted our youth, our families, and even now, little ones from JESD are seeking help at our Daly City Partnership because we gave grant funding to CDBG funding for another counselor to help these families. So for me, that's having it not included is really saddens me that was not included in the buffer zone or thought out. And that to me is primary, and we have to think it's no reflection on any of the business owners in our community. There was a 250 90th Street, I think it was, incident that was in our police report that where they pulled the person over. The guns were fully loaded. They had rounds in the car, several guns, pounds of marijuana in it. And it's not to say that the person, the applicant or anybody in another store wouldn't be operating a safe business, but it's also close to the freeway. That's a concern. And but right now I'll yield to my other colleagues for a moment until I can think about the other ones. But that's a big impact for me for seeing the youth suffer. And hearing the county repeat the numbers that which I already know have increased from being in touch with Daly City Partnership. So right now, I'll yield to all my council members before closing. Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember DiGiovanni. Councilmember Sylvester.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Okay, I have, well, quite a few questions and some concerns that I have and comments. You know, I'm a strong believer in Prop 64. Prop 64 was the ability to establish cannabis retail, cannabis growing, and the voters approved it.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what they wanted.
Mm-hmm.
So that is why we are here today. I can recall a couple of council meetings ago. Matter of fact, as we move forward, I wanted a 1,000-foot buffer. But we learned that as long as we comply with the state's minimum, which was 600, I could be wrong, but I'm not wrong in the fact that I wanted 1,000 feet from schools, churches, banks, and etc. So this is where we're at today. Again, a few council meetings ago, I did a comparison with, I believe it was San Francisco, and to include the population. And thanks to council, I think the original proposal was for about 12 or 13 locations, and we narrowed it down to, if I'm not mistaken, 6. And I have to thank council and my colleagues for that. This particular issue weighs on many people, and especially it weighs on our communities. Uh, we made some changes. I can recall one that stuck out in my mind near elementary schools, near the border of Colma. I think it was 89th Street, a few blocks away from Jefferson High School. We took that area out. So basically, we were being very, very responsive to the community. And when we make these decisions based on information that we have or information that we learn of. I heard this evening that the property owners were sent notices. But in this particular area, we have a lot of apartments. Did the property owners share that information with their tenants who may be of lower social economic status? And we are wanting to basically take care of our communities, especially those areas that are oppressed. And I've been looking here on the internet and I'm trying to find out what is the actual distance. If I'm not mistaken, I put in Daly City Hall, just from our City Hall to this location, and I'm getting less than 350 feet. So, armed with this information, I'm having a difficult time. I know our city council has put forth funds to support Daly City partnerships in the hiring of an additional mental health professional, additional staff, and especially, to take care of our youth, and not only our youth, but our community. This is also dynamic and fluid. And what I mean by that is things change. And sometimes things happen that we have no control over. The recent incident that happened at 290, could this have been prevented? I don't know. Could this incident that recently happened happen somewhere else in the neighborhood? Yes, it could have. The mere fact that it happened so close where we are doing a proposal to change the ordinance or the zoning to allow cannabis, especially in this area, you got a freeway off ramp there. I'm concerned about signage. Are we going to advertise and put signs up so the whole world would know as they travel onto the freeway? I have a problem with that. Had I known this information before, I would have said something. And I try to operate on facts and basically what may happen. I don't have a crystal ball. None of us has a crystal ball, but I don't want to add to something that can lead to something else happening. So at this particular time, I'm kind of uncomfortable with this. I would like to find out what is the exact distance. I can't seem to locate that because if 600 feet is our buffer, I need to know that it is at least 600 feet apart and that maybe further community outreach is done for those, not just the property owners, but also each and every single tenant, at least give them an opportunity to weigh in. So those are my comments, and I thank you.
Through the Vice Mayor, if you'd like, I can put up on the screen the buffer zone map for this area in general. I don't know if that would help at all.
Yes, please do so.
I've just got to find it. Let's see. Sorry, it comes up on my screen, but then I can't share it. If you'd like to continue your discussion, and then once I can bring it up, I will do that. I'm sorry about that.
Anybody else? Any of my other colleagues like to speak on this matter?
Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, let's look at this. So I'm just going to zoom into the area where this property is. This property in particular is located where my mouse is pointing. Excuse me. And this is the 600-foot buffer around MP Brown School. So this is the general distance here. I believe the facility, the Daly City Youth Center facility, is located on a parcel generally here where my mouse is pointing, which is northwest of the intersection of 90th Street and Sullivan Avenue. I believe the address there is 350 90th Street. As we can see, the distance between, this is the parcel, and this is the general distance, or approximating. This is a lot greater than that distance. So there is considerable distance from that facility in general, greater than 600 feet. It's also worth noting that this parcel, should the city council approve it, would join an existing opportunity zone in which only one facility can be located. So if this property was to be the recipient, so to speak, of an allowable retail use, the balance of the opportunity zone would not see a retail cannabis user because only one is allowed. So the net impact of the allowance of the retail use here on the opportunity zone it's not increasing the amount of retail cannabis sales in the area. There will be one, it's just that it could be located on this property in addition. So that was our only commentary on some of the comments that have come forth. I'm going to go ahead and stop share unless there's any questions on this, the buffer zone map.
Vice Mayor.
Councilmember DiGiovanni, go ahead.
Thank you. So Michael, when, I don't know how to get accurate, but when looking at it, like when you do the measurements from the Google thing, it showed less. Is it just the fact of it, that the council that voted for this prior, is it just because it was not included in the buffer zone? Or because for me, it is less than, looking at the accuracy, it was less than the 600 feet. But as you said, that none of these facilities, which is concerning the youth, was included. So is that just that part of it? That they weren't included upon discussion when they approved the buffer zones at that time. These facilities were not included, period. Because if they were been included, it would have extended, correct? As part of the buffer zone, Michael?
Yeah. You're saying with regard to this, are we talking again about 350
Yes.
90th?
Yeah, the Daly City Youth Center and the Daly City Partnership. Was it just because they decided not to include it in the buffer zone?
I think that use was excluded from as
Correct.
yeah.
So that was the biggest part. It was just excluded.
It was excluded, yeah. I think that the intent of the youth separation was younger youth. Of course, it's not defined exactly what that is. The schools are definitely inside, and any public facilities that serve youth are included in that.
Correct. Okay, so but it has to be from the Daly City Youth Center and the Daly City Partnership to the location asking for rezoning. Would you say that that is less than the 600 feet?
The distance appears to me to be greater than 600 feet.
See, that's not the calculation we got. But irregardless, even if it was more, if the fact is that it was not included in their package, the youth center and the Daly City Partnership, which I can't imagine why it wasn't included, but they concurred with it. So it's really saddens me.
I drew a blue line between the boundary of the MP Brown Elementary School property and the subject property. And I'm going to draw a red line between the 350 90th and the oops.
Okay.
Come out so straight, but here's another one. See how the red line's longer than the blue line?
Got it. But making any decisions and not including our youth health and mental well-being and the little ones now and the families, okay, is
right. But all that being said, I do not believe that facility at 350 90th was a factor for consideration in the initial development by the current council, actually, of when it approved the overlay zone.
okay. That's sad, really sad, not to include our youth and children. Thank you very much. Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Councilmember Sylvester.
All right, thank you, Vice Mayor. I'm sorry I was in another window, but I was listening. I'm trying all these different utilities on the internet, and I finally got Google Maps out, and I tried putting in, if you walked it, what the distance will be, and I'm having trouble. Michael, thank you for putting up that map. Only questions I would have on the map is a legend and being able to actually measure the distance between 350 90th Street to 618 Sullivan. And that's very crucial for me because Daly City Partnership we have supported Daly City Partnership. They have stepped up to the plate, and our youths go there, and I feel that should be considered in this decision as well. So I'm going to continue searching, but if we need to move forward, I'm willing to do that as well. Thank you.
Member Sylvester, are there any additional comments by my colleagues? I'd like to make Mr. Tialdi, if you would like to make a comment.
Yes, thank you, Vice Mayor. I just wanted, I've been listening and trying to take in everything, all the comments into consideration. I just wanted to point out that from what I understand, and Michael, if you can correct me if I'm wrong, in terms of this zoning, 1618 Sullivan would be added to an existing zoning that is already approved on Junipero Serra. And the existing zoning for that, I guess, that opportunity zone along Junipero Serra includes properties that are closer to the youth center that is being pointed out than 1618 Sullivan, if it were added to this opportunity zone. So I just wanted to, I'm trying to listen to everybody. I'm not sure if everybody is grasping that, but I don't know exactly what properties, but they're right along Junipero Serra is the zone. Michael, maybe if you want to go ahead and point them out, but that just that it would be added to that approved zone already that is there. So. That was just my.
Daly. I have a quick question for Michael. So just to revisit these maps, it's only one cannabis retail store per zone, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so that doesn't mean like if we decide to rezone this area and let's just say it's somebody went through the whole lottery process and was able to secure that specific space, that's the only spot that can have it out of that zone.
That's right. I'm going to try and bring up another visual for you. You can bear with me a second. One second. Let's take a look at this. So these are these are the adopted parcels that can currently have a retail sale of cannabis. And the subject site is located generally here where let's see if I can make this bigger for everybody. Located generally here. You can see the mouse pointing.
Mm-hmm.
And so what Mr. Tialdi is stating is that this is 350 90th. It was not considered in the initial criteria, but if that's a factor for the city council, this is a lot closer to the existing, and all of these can only receive one, and this would annex into this whole area. So if the concern is creating a greater separation, if you will, from this facility, which again was not a criteria, but if that's a concern, this is actually further away. A site here is further away than the actual existing allowed parcels, which are shown in red. So on that so with regard to that particular facility, this facility is actually a lot further away than what's existing allowed.
Councilmember Sylvester.
Thank you. Michael, leave that map up. Thank you for bringing this up and further clarifying it, because I get what you're saying. So what I'm hearing is the parcels, or the properties or whatever you have marked in red, those are approved locations. So can you go up to where 29 DCP is? I get it. DCP is further away from the 618 Sullivan, right where you have your mouse, and to the right of that, or wherever DCP, okay, so C-R-, well, I'm looking at 2488 to your right of that. That would be Juniper Serra. You see it? Move over to your right.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So if somebody wanted to open up shop there at 2488, they would be even closer to DPP.
That's right.
So 618 Sullivan. So 618 Sullivan, how come that's not marked in red? Is it because a zone was created and you were requesting to add it into the zone?
Where is that, 618 Sullivan?
The topic for tonight, 618 Sullivan.
Oh, 1618, yeah.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
16. Yeah.
Well,
And
I think
how come that's not in red?
I think one of the initial criteria was it had to be west of Sullivan Avenue for some reason. But there's no real rational reason why 1618 Sullivan wouldn't have been included. In some ways, it's more ideal than some of the other sites. In fact, we put a criteria list in the presentation as to why that might be. It's surrounded by this sort of corporation yard. Let's just zoom into this aerial if we can. This corporate AT&T corporation yard. It's got a gasoline station and again, this is a pumping facility or something. And then the freeway. It doesn't have a lot of residential uses, and it is true there are apartments here, but not a lot of residential uses right around it. If you go up, take a look at some of these other facilities, and if a facility was actually placed in 1618, there could be no facilities inside these other red parcels because it would annex into these, and only one is allowed. So if we look at some of these other parcels, they're much closer to residential uses. So we didn't have any real problem supporting the rezoning of 1618 for that reason.
Gotcha. You make a very compelling statement as to the why and the why not. And I'm starting to digress back and saying maybe the ordinance or the zoning is wrong, and whether we have to amend it and come back to the table with an amended ordinance so that we don't have to go through this. Just add everything that's available, indicated, and maybe incorporate DCP, but that may change as well because you'd have to get rid of those red buildings on the side and the Sarah side. It's a tough one for me. It's very tough. So I'm sorry. That's my comment. Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor.
Okay. Thank you, Michael, for putting up those maps. It
You're welcome.
really provides some rationale.
Yeah, and if there's any other maps we can put up, we can look at Google Street View, anything you need to look at.
Yeah. Are there any other additional comments by any of my colleagues? Okay. I'd like to make a very brief comment. I think when we look at these maps, it becomes very very complicated in terms of mapping out where cannabis can be sold, just because the way how Daly City is designed, right? A lot of neighborhoods, but given I think the context and what the voters wanted in the state, and I know that youth is one section of this community, but I know, and for many people that I've known that have gone through cancer or have suffered through other forms of mental health, they've actually have personal testimonials about how cannabis has been used as a sense of medicine and medicinal purposes. I just read like an article about like the increase of seniors and their use of recreational marijuana, either being CBD, THC, ointments, and when we talk about drug abuse, I think that one of the most harmful abuses are those that are prescribed. Xanax, all the prescribed types of medicines that have gone on to towards having overdose. And I think that if folks have ever gone to a cannabis club and seeing how secure these cannabis clubs are, I mean, gosh, even the DCPD endorsed it. They said they don't see a problem with it, and it's very close to that area. So if there's anything that ever popped off right there, the police are right there. And I think that when we talk about this, notion of cannabis. It's been a long narrative of prohibition that has been so entrenched and embedded in our narrative of saying that anybody that uses marijuana will go crazy. I think there has to be some opportunities, and I see that there's a cultural change in terms of accessibility to cannabis. And along with that, and these little small hindsights that we don't see, like not adopting this in the first place. I think that we need to give some more opportunities to see that the cultural tides are changing towards cannabis. And even the effort, I saw what the planning commission, Commissioner Satori said that he asked how much money does it cost to open up, how much capital do you need to open up a cannabis club? $250,000. These are not low-end drug pushers in the corners anymore. These people have to have capital up front. It's a legitimized business, and it serves a purpose that's alternative to prescribed medicines. Folks that I know that are going through cancer, my mom had cancer, friends that have had cancer, and they felt like, and these are all just personal testimonials. Like, I don't have any personal statistics, but I just think that, we cannot deny other sectors of our community access to alternative medicines. And with that, I don't see any other hands that are raised. So I like to have a motion to adopt the resolution by roll call.
Dr. Rudd, I support what you had said. I think you make some very really good points. And so I would make that motion, Dr. Rudd.
Councilmember Bonaventura, can I, was that a second? Oh wait,
yeah.
that was a motion, right?
If you made it, I'll second it, or I'll make it and you can second, or whoever.
Okay. I guess Councilmember Bonaventura motioned, and I'll second that motion. Roll call, please.
Mr. Buenaventura,
Aye.
Ms. Di Giovanni,
No.
Mr. Sylvester,
And Sylvester, no.
Dr. Rod.
Yes. So it's a draw.
The draw, so no motion.
Okay, so do we go ahead in the agenda? How does this work?
So currently, this is a legislative act by the council on a 2-2 vote. You need 3 on a resolution for it to pass. So it doesn't pass at this stage.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification, Ms. Zimmerman. So this agenda item comes to a draw. So I guess we move to the next agenda item. Item number 16, notice of lien and special assessment to rental property, and I'll hand it off to Mr. Nevin.
Thank you. Good evening, Dr. Vice Mayor and council members. It is recommended that the City Council approve the notice of lien and special assessment to rental property for properties included in the attachment with the County of San Mateo for all unpaid business license rental property taxes and penalties. On June 25th, 2012, the City Council entered into an agreement with the County of San Mateo to impose lien assessments on real property for unpaid business licenses for rental properties. This agreement was approved by resolution number 12-99. Daly City Municipal Code Chapter 5.16.050 requires that all commercial and residential rental property pay a license tax based on the gross rental income collected. 2 notices dated August 20th, 2020 and February 11th, 2021, respectively, have been sent to the rental property owners in an effort to bring them into compliance. The past due taxes were due on October 1st, 2020, based on the actual gross rental income reported on their 2019 federal income tax return. On May 24th, 2021, this council set time and place for tonight's public hearing. Subsequently, on May 25th, 2021, notices of intent to lien rental property were mailed to past due and unresponsive property owners, included in the attachment. This notice provided the property owners the opportunity to clear the possible lien and validate the information provided by the County of San Mateo. All unpaid taxes will be assessed on the upcoming fiscal year 2022 property tax bill. In the current fiscal year 2021, projected revenue collection of unpaid business license rental property tax from the County of San Mateo is approximately $184,291.81. Collection for fiscal year 2021 will be determined based on rental property payment history and current market rental value. Staff recommends that the City Council approve the notice of lien and special assessment to real property for properties listed in the attachment. Staff is available to provide any additional information either now or after the public hearing. Thank you.
Evan, I'll open the floor for my colleagues for comments. Seeing none, I'd like to motion to open the hearing.
Motion to open the public hearing.
Second.
There's a first and a second. Leilani, if there's any public comment.
For those members of the public who wish to comment on item number 16, please click the raise hand feature to speak on that agenda item. For those joining by phone, press *9 to raise your hand. No raised hands, Vice Mayor.
So much, Leilani. Can I get a motion to close the hearing?
Motion to close public hearing.
We have a
Second.
first. We have a second by Councilmember DiGiovanni. Are there any other communications amongst my colleagues? Seeing none, let's go ahead and have a motion to adopt the resolution by roll call, please.
So moved.
Yeah, first,
Second.
and it's second by Councilmember Sylvester.
Mr. Buenaventura,
Aye.
Ms. DiGiovanni,
Aye.
Mr. Sylvester,
Glenn Sylvester, aye.
Dr. Rod.
Aye. All right. So agenda is 16, item number 16 passes. Moving along to item number 17, use permit, UPR-5-21-15031. Tattoo studio at 6500 Mission Street. And I'll hand it over to Mr. Palan.
Good evening, Commissioners. The next item before you this evening is the use permit for the Tattooed Goat Society, a tattoo studio to be located at 6500 Mission Street. And I'm going to try and share screen. So give me a moment to get that up for you. Okay. Can everyone see that? All right. So the applicant is proposing to use the existing building as a tattoo studio. The ground floor of the building was most recently occupied by an automotive electronics retail store. I want to make a note. There is a correction to the staff report where a portion of it says that it was a retail store, but another section says it was previously used as a nail salon, and that is incorrect. Also, there are no tenant improvements proposed as part of this application. The subject property is located on the southwest corner of Theta Avenue and Mission Street. The proposed facility would provide up to 4 tattoo stations and operate 7 days a week from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. The business would include an approximately 500 square foot retail and waiting area. The room at the rear of the tenant space includes the tattoo booths and a conference area of approximately 500 square feet. No modifications to the building or additional floor area are proposed. Staff has reviewed the application for CEQA compliance and finds that it is categorically exempt per section 15301. Staff finds that the proposed use is compatible with the general plan and the zoning regulations of the light commercial zone. The Planning Commission reviewed this project on June 1st and recommends the City Council approve use permit 5-21-15015, subject to the findings and conditions in the staff report. And that concludes my presentation, and I'm available to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you so much, Mr. Pound. Is there any questions or comments by any of my colleagues?
Vice Mayor?
Go ahead. Councilmember DG.
Is the applicant? I'm sorry for the echo. Sorry, technology. Is the applicant here, Brian? Can you hear me?
Somehow I was muted, but now I'm unmuted again, I think. So the applicant, I believe, is listening in via listen only mode, but I don't believe that they are registered to speak on the item, but someone possibly who understands the working of Zoom better than I do might be able to do something and have them chime in if they're so want to. I'm not sure.
Is it Jeremy Lane?
Jeremy Federer? The applicant's first name is Jeremy, so yes.
Jeremy, are you there?
Hi, I'm here, yes. Full name's Jeremy Lang Federer. Sorry about that.
Vice Mayor, may I?
All right.
Jeremy, I just have a quick question. First of all, thank you for, obviously you have a great artistry, the people I've seen in the tattoo arena, and welcome to Daly City. I just have a quick question as far as, do you need anything on the inside fixed or anything?
No, we're ready to go.
Are you already ready to go?
Yeah, and unfortunately, due to COVID, we were delayed the year, but we were like literally like February of last year ready to go, and then COVID hit, and I've been holding on for dear life as paying rent on a large space for a year has been challenging.
Oh, you had to pay the rent. Okay.
Sorry?
So I just want to welcome you to Daly City, and then
Thank you.
And then I didn't know if are you from Daly City?
Not originally. I'm actually originally Canadian. I lived in Europe for many years. That's where I met my partner, who's from the East Coast, and we've been in California for about 6 years. Honestly, I do love it. It is amazing.
Yeah, creativity is very important in the community. So I just wanted to have you on here to speak and be a part of this and welcome you in this arena.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And one of our planned uses for the retail space was as well a community art gallery. It's got large white walls, and the idea was to have different artists as well come in and you know, for us, art is such an important part of the community
Yes.
that you don't have a lot of that, especially in Daly City. And the location is fantastic because that top of Mission Street is really a big hub for traffic and transit. And already Verb is the artist name of my partner. Megan is her full name. And essentially, you know, she's already embedded herself in the community. So, you know.
Oh, yeah, I'd like to come by and see that. And then I also
absolutely.
have some ideas and friends that are artists. As a matter of fact, I live in where I live at.
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay, thank you very much. And thank you, Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Pamela.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you, Jeremy. My
Thank
best
you,
year partner.
Councilmember. I was like, Pam, you're gonna get a tattoo? No.
I know.
Just joking.
You never know.
Free tattoos for
Never know,
everybody.
right? I know where to go.
Yes, for sure. And she's also an award-winning tattoo artist.
Wow. Welcome.
Thank you.
Councilmember
Thank you,
Sylvester.
Vice Mayor.
You're welcome.
This is getting to be funny to me, so I'll wait for a public comment, Vice Mayor, before I make a comment. And no, I better not say it. But anyway, about tattoos. But anyway, I'll wait for public comment, then I'll make a comment. Thank you.
Okay. So let me open up for public comment. Are there any public comments for this item, Leilani?
For those members of the public who wish to comment on item number 17, please click the raise hand feature to speak on this agenda item. For those joining by phone, press *9 to raise your hand. No hands raised, Vice Mayor.
Thank you so much, Leilani. Mr. Sylvester, would you like to go ahead with your comments?
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I just wanted to let my colleagues know that I attended I listened in on the Planning Commission, and believe me, the Planning Commission, which is an advisory commission to City Council, they really put the applicant through a lot of questions. They wanted to see maps, they wanted to see surrounding stores, and they were wondering about the hours, and it turned out pretty well. And I have to thank the Planning Commission, because I think that's going to be a very important part on how I vote tonight. So I just wanted to put that out there. So thank you.
Any other comments by my colleagues? Yeah, so I've been waiting for this store to be open. I literally drive by this place almost daily. I live in the area as well. So I've been, I've grown up with friends that are artists and have actually became graffiti artists and tattoo artists. And I like to see those two passions aligned, where you could use the community space to showcase art and really showcase what Daly City is all about. We have this stereotype of Daly City being a sleeping suburb. But I think when you really dig into it, there's so much richness in terms of art and culture and performative visual art that, that needs to be tapped. And, sometimes we get overshadowed by San Francisco, but, a lot of folks come from Daly City that emerge out of artists. And, because the word San Francisco sounds so more sexier, they'll claim that city than Daly City. So, Jeremy, thank you for coming through. Are there if there's no other comments by my colleagues, I would like to have a motion to adopt the resolution by roll call. Can I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Councilmember DiGiovanni. Can I have a second, please? I'll go ahead and second that. So can we have a vote by roll call, please?
Mr. Buenaventura,
Aye.
Ms. DiGiovanni,
Aye.
Mr. Sylvester,
Oh,
Glenn Sylvester, I didn't want to lead on, and I was going to second the motion.
Oh.
A resounding aye. Welcome to Daly City.
and Dr. Rod.
And that's an aye as well.
Thank you, everybody. I look forward to seeing you all, and free tattoos for everyone.
I'm there, not to joking.
All right, Dr. Rod,
I saw that, Shauna.
we got you. Mr. Sylvester, I'm sure there's something.
Yeah, that's you called it right on the nose.
Awesome. Thank you. And thanks, Brian, for all the help.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Great. We're almost heading to the end of this meeting. Are there any public appearances or communications?
In accordance with the Brown Act laws governing regular meetings, the City Council is not authorized to speak to or take action on any other items in this meeting. Members of the public who wish to comment may click the raise hand feature to raise your hand to speak. For those joining by phone, press *9 to raise your hand and *6 to unmute. It is important to note that staff will announce the name of the last person whose hand was raised upon calling for public comment, and that person will be the last verbal comment. If any additional speakers queue up after the last called speaker, the Vice Mayor may continue to allow public comment if time allows. Otherwise, public comment may be emailed to cityclerk@dalycity.org to be added to the record and shared with the City Council. When you hear your name called, staff will send you a request to unmute your microphone and you may begin speaking. Each person will receive a maximum of 2 minutes to speak and may only speak once. When your 2 minutes have been reached, we ask that you wrap up your comments. Speakers not in compliance with the Council's rules of decorum will be muted. Okay. I see 2 hands raised. And the first speaker will be Sally Liu.
Good evening, Daly City Council members. Can you hear me? Am I loud enough? Oh, great. Thank you for your time and your service to the community. Again, my name is Sally Liu. I live in Hillsborough. I eat in restaurants all around the peninsula, and I'm speaking to item 13, the upcoming public hearing on the San Mateo County disposable foodware ordinance. I'm a member of Reusable San Mateo County, which is a coalition of community members and organizations working to reduce plastic pollution in our county to safeguard our public health, our communities, and our environment. We're very concerned about the proliferation of plastics in our everyday lives. And given that 40% of single-use plastics are used in our restaurants, I wanted to speak in support of the San Mateo County disposable foodware ordinance, and in particular wanted to request consideration of the addition of a dine-in reuse amendment. The amendment would require reusables, that's real plates and cups and silverwares instead of disposables when dining in our restaurants. And we feel this will benefit waste and plastic pollution reduction and also result in significant cost savings to our Daly City restaurants. And this is really important given the economic impact due to COVID. Reusable San Mateo County examined the economic and waste impacts on the Daly City restaurants, looking at over 200 restaurants and the expected plastic and fiber serviceware increase.
I can be clowned easily, but
and then also look at the if you converted to dine-in reusables, making use of data from a partner organization called Rethink Disposables. And there was a 5,000 annual savings per restaurant and a total of 680,000 for the whole sector per year. So we really, oh, sorry, I was distracted by the comments. But anyway, thank you for your consideration of the dine-in reuse amendment. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments. Next, we have Tess.
Hello and good evening, Honorable City Council and Vice Mayor. I have never necessarily given a public comment at one of these meetings, and so I'm wondering what sort of the etiquette is around talking on something that has not been presented in this specific agenda, and whether or not that makes sense to bring up, or if I should just, stay watched to see when it will be brought up and then speak on it then.
This is general public comment. You may make the comment.
Okay, thank you. So this topic is still under review by the city, and it's regarding Sandhill Properties prospective build on the Thornton Beach Bluff on Skyline Boulevard. And I just wanted to speak on this and say that I'm very adamant about the fact that this should not take place and this development should not take place, because this is pretty much a natural sanctuary for so many animals, so many people who love to go there to spend their free time, walk their dogs, take their children. And it's my understanding that Sandhill Properties plans to build a religious retreat center there. And the main takeaway of what I would like to say is pretty much that that location is currently a sanctuary. It's currently a place of worship for plants, animals, people who love to be in the outdoors, and that Sandhill Properties has every opportunity in many different locations to build their religious location and their religious place of worship. And I am adamant about the fact that this is not something that needs to displace a current sanctuary in order to place a place of religious worship. So I would just really like to leave you guys with that, and just with the fact that I am in full support. I'm a religious person myself. I'm in full support that this Sandhill Properties can create a religious sanctuary, but I just don't think it's necessary to disturb and destroy a natural, beautiful location in order to do so. Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you for your comments. Vice Mayor, we have 4 hands that have raised. Would you like me to continue? Okay, great.
Yes, please.
Next, we have Jake Kim.
Hello, and thank you, honorary Daly City Council members. My name is Jake, and I am a resident of Millbrae and a rising senior at Mills High School. I'm very passionate about the environment and life, which is why I particularly enjoyed my AP biology class this year. One thing that stuck to me as a bio student is a biological phenomenon known as biomagnification, in which toxin concentrations in organisms are significantly amplified when they are consumed by a predator, which in many cases are us. After getting strangled by plastic bags and poisoned by plastic consumption, the surviving marine animals face the challenge of human predation. But as it turns out, this phenomenon called biomagnification makes it just as much of a problem for us as it is to the captured tuna and salmon. Every time we prepare ourselves a nice seafood meal, we unknowingly increase our susceptibility to certain cancers, liver failure, birth defects, brain damage, and heart disease because of the amplified effects of plastics and toxins. Therefore, plastic pollutions threaten our local ecosystems as well as public health. Plastic reaches storm drains and oceans due to natural forces such as wind and rain. And unless we can somehow play God and control these natural forces, we should focus on reducing our plastic usage instead. I strongly urge you to adopt a single-use plastic ban ordinance that includes a dine-in reuse amendment. Again, thank you for your time, and thank you for considering my request.
Thank you for your comments. Next, we have Coleman Young.
All right. Hello, Daly City Council members. My name is Coleman Young, a resident of Millbrae and a rising senior at Mills High School. I'd first like to thank you for your time and service to this community, as well as the actions taken against single-use plastics. I recently read this very surprising fact, and it was that, did you know on average plastic bags are used for around 12 minutes, then they stay untouched for the next few hundred years? As you are aware, there's a Proposition 67, which is also known as SB 270. And this proposition led to a 71.5% drop in overall plastic bag consumption, which amounts to a massive decrease of around 40 million pounds of plastic waste. There has also been a noticeable decrease in plastic bag turnup at the Bay Area beaches that I used to go and clean up at, from a 9% of waste in the past to becoming below 1%, which is amazing. And the remainder of plastics would be drink bottles, bottle caps, lids, food wraps, utensils, stirrers, and straws, which remain unfettered and will continue to do so without restrictions. From the time I went volunteering for the beach cleanups to the dreadful view of seagulls engulfing bits of foreign objects, sadly, plastic waste is inevitable. And although plastic bans won't solve the plastic crisis alone, its mere influence on plastic consumption habits, which are things we take for granted, will redirect consumers to be open to more environmentally friendly alternatives. So thank you for considering the disposable food serviceware ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next, we have Clayton Lowe.
Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello, council members. Thank you for your time and your service to the community. My name is Clayton, and I'm a resident of Millbrae, a senior at Mills High School, and a member of Reusables SMC. Recently, I've joined an environmental club. In addition, I've eaten a lot of takeout food. Now, these might seem like two very strange things to relate to each other, but being part of an environmental club has helped me to realize the ever-creeping threat of climate change. Now, every time I get takeout, I check to see if the containers are recyclable, wash and dry them, and put them in the recycling. Imagine how mortified I was to discover that half of recyclable plastics go to the landfill and the other half becomes downcycled. Even worse, only a quarter of plastics are even recyclable. Council members, I strongly support this disposable foodware ordinance and would like to suggest a reusable amendment due to reasons already brought up by my fellow reusable SMC members. Thank you for your initiative. Thank you for the initiative you're taking in order to bring along a cleaner and healthier world for generations to come. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your comments. And last, we have Victoria Lynn.
Hello, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening, Honorable Daly City Council members. My name is Victoria Lynn. I'm currently a rising senior at Mills High School, a Millbrae resident, and a member of the Bay Area Youth Climate Action Team. Even before this pandemic, single-use plastics were found scattered in all sorts of places, ranging from food packaging in our grocery stores to gutters in our very own bay. However, the need to decrease our consumption of plastic has only exponentially increased. The fact of the matter is that we're running out of space to throw away our trash. The COVID-19 pandemic has only escalated the situation as takeout meals have become even more popularized, resulting in more single-use plastics being circulated in the form of bags and utensils. The EPA has reported that in 1 year alone, our total amount of trash generated in 2018 was 292.4 million tons, approximately 23.7 million tons more than the amount that we threw out in 2017. The Global Citizen states that our nation is on track to run out of space in our landfills within the next 18 years. While I understand that limiting certain one-time use products such as disposable masks is not really a possibility right now given the circumstances, that's no reason to completely push the conversation of banning single-use plastics in other forms to the side. Did you know a whopping 91% of plastic is either never recycled or cannot be fully recycled? This fact alone demonstrates that the inevitable threat of our cities filling to the brim with garbage will become a reality sooner than reports can say. Banning the use of something small such as plastic bags or straws is a great way to start the movement towards reducing the amount of waste that we produce. Our world is becoming more advanced every day and we must keep up with the pace. Plastics are a figment of the past. We now have the technology to make biodegradable foodware and reusable everyday products. The time to act is now. I strongly urge you to pass the disposable foodware ordinance. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for your comments. That concludes public comment.
Thank you. Let's see here, where we're at. Okay. Any public, okay, we got that. Any appointments by any of my colleagues? Board, commission membership, committee by appointments? Seeing none, let's proceed to our reports. Council committee reports. Are there any reports by the council? Okay. I don't see any there. Okay, city council reports. Councilmember Sylvester.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I just wanted to bring up a few issues that I learned of, and basically maybe for another council meeting or maybe a follow-up from staff. Most of this deals in the area of permits. Um, some archaic and some rather new. I'm concerned about when the public comes to obtain a permit, and it's I've learned because I saw the form for different things, remodeling of your home, even if you have to repair things. Do we have an established checklist for each particular area? I'm hoping that planning can enlighten us and provide us that information so that when constituents ask, well, why are they doing things this way? And believe me, this is not to get on planning and our great code enforcers and inspectors, because in the end, they are there to protect us. And I need to be assured that our city provides great service and does everything to make sure and to let the public know they are there for us. The next area is ADUs. I made mention before how being part of the Heart Board, we received a grant to draw architectural drawings for ADUs. And this will help any potential or any homeowner who may consider putting one that in their backyard that they don't have to obtain an architectural drawing. The city has them and they're made available through Heart. What I question on ADUs is the height requirement. If you live in a two-story home, would you be, is it okay for you to build a three-story ADU? I think that's something we need to look into and examine the code as to what's available. And the last area is the procedures when you obtain a permit. If you're going to say add another addition to the house and you applied for a permit and you're still waiting to get approval for the permit, if you're going to begin demolishing parts where the addition will be built, will you be fined through the city? And if the permit does come, well, then you can demolish. So I'm just wondering, what is the criteria for demolishing if and when you've applied for a permit? So I think I would like to get some answers to that in the future council meeting, or for if any of my colleagues are also concerned about these items, then maybe it comes before council, or I would appreciate a response in those particular areas. And lastly is pipes. Daly City has an archaic code pertaining to plumbing pipes underneath your sink. So let's just say, for instance, you have a leak there and your pipes have to be replaced. Well, according to the code, they must be metal pipes, either cast iron or copper. You cannot use plastic. So I like to find out why. And, we're here to help the homeowners and at the same time, help them save money as well. So why can't you use, well, pardon the pun, plastic, but that's something you don't throw away. That's supposed to last many years. So, I think in the long run, it would help our homeowners as well. So That's all I have at this particular time. I don't need an answer, but I just wanted to make the council aware. Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Sylvester. Are there any other council or city council reports? Okay. I guess I'll go ahead. I have a whole laundry list of things. Okay, so I was able to attend a meeting that happened, I think, June 23rd, 2021. It was with the Community Collaboration for Children's Success with the San Mateo County Get Healthy Initiative, and it was the Racial Equity Program or Subcommittee. And I was in a meeting with various folks, as former Mayor Mary Bear from Pacifica, who now works at the Daly City Youth Health Center. And she gave us updates on the youth civic empowerment training that will be kicking off this summer. So they're selecting youth that are from different parts of the county. And this is to allow to get more youth, and specifically youth of color, to be involved in civic engagement. So they're going to get to understand and learn about the processes of how to understand the inner workings of city government, advocacy, leadership, organizing, networking, public speaking. And I was glad to be a part of that that meeting. Also, I have some PCE, Peninsula Clean Energy updates. They started off with a LIFT and PCE launch electric vehicle EV riding hailing program. So they announced a first of a kind partnership with LIFT to expand EV use or EV vehicles, electronic vehicles for drivers on LIFT's platform. So the initial goal was to expand EV use to about 100 LIFT vehicles in San Mateo County. And then by doing so, they can prevent 200,000 gallons of gas usage, thousands of tons of greenhouse gases, and save ride-hail drivers more than $750,000. There's also, what else did they talk about? Oh, here, water heater rebates are available. So rebates on heat pump water heaters are available. So PCE will provide a $1,500 or $1,500 rebate when customers replace a gas water heater with an approved contractor. Combined with the Bay Rent rebate of $1,000, this provides a total of $2,500, a significant incentive. CARE and FARA customers are eligible for an additional $1,000 rebate. If an electrical panel upgrade is needed, supplemental rebates are available for that as well. And you get more information on that on the peninsulacleanenergy.com or PC on their website. And I have a whole list of things to continue. I have reports from Mayor Manalo. So I'm just going to go ahead and announce it. So this is a report from Mayor Milano. She said, things are looking brighter ahead as California officially opened up last June 15th. But for those of you who are not vaccinated, it is safe and is proving it works to stop hospitalization and having people be very sick from COVID-19. If you haven't done so already, there's an opportunity every Wednesday in Daly City on Wednesday until July 31st, or further notice at the Daly City Youth Center, 350 90th Street, Daly City, California, from 12 to 6. Last week, she called into the Seton California Nurses Association Town Hall with Councilmember Ray Buenaventura and Councilmember Pam DiGiovanni to hear the concerns of our committed and dedicated frontliners before the pandemic throughout this day. She was also able to present a certificate of recognition to Bernard Bud Simon as he turned 100 years old for his service as a World War II veteran, United States Marine and founding member of the Marines Memorial Club in San Francisco, and veteran on Honor Flight Bay Area Flight number 10. And then lastly, there are two exciting events that are coming. Our long-awaited return of Engine 95. It is through the hard work of everyone coming together for our Daly City firefighters, city staff, our colleagues, and our residents, volunteers of Daly City who saw the importance of reinstating Engine 95, which will be celebrating on July 1st. So it's just around the corner. We know how important this is for our community and how strongly they wanted to see the engine return. Yellow Park renovations. So come join Mayor Manalo and the rest of council in celebrating our new playground, restrooms and court lighting, barbecue shelter, and updated basketball and tennis courts made possible by San Mateo County Measure K funds and City of Daly City Capital Improvement Program funding on July 17th with a barbecue provided by the county. D5 Supervisor David Canapa will be there as well, and there will be free vaccines on the site. And on the heels of continued park improvements, we just received news that the legislator has $4 million allocated for the renovation of Margate Park. And from Mayor Manalo's request to Assemblymember Phil Ting's office, he wants to thank Assemblymember Ting and staff, and also to thank the city staff for getting the scope, which she requested to be sent over for communication to state officers. She knows that how important, how open spaces have been for community, and even more so through the pandemic, has been a haven for many. And Councilmember Buenaventura, go right ahead.
Yes, thank you, Vice Mayor Dr. Rod. First, I want to just give a shout out to Supervisor David Canapa for the opening that he had. He had a county opening festivities over nearby the Colma BART station. And it was really well attended. It was very well done. I think it got the community spirits up, and it was a really nice way to sort of celebrate the opening of the community, the county. So I want to thank Supervisor Canapa for organizing and doing that. I saw the mayor there, and there was a lot of really good people there. So thank you to him. And then I want to follow up on the mayor's comments through the vice mayor about Seton Hospital and the nurses issue. So we were invited to attend their town hall. The town hall was organized by Julie Tran, and it was regarding the Seton RN staff. And they really had a lot of what I thought were really concerning complaints. There was an issue about severe low staffing, ongoing ratio violations, and changing to the staffing grids. And so they really want some help with respect to making sure, that they're taken care of, and that the management recognizes how valuable the nurses are. And really, they are the lifeblood of Seton Medical Center. So I was really
Councilmember Buenaventura, I believe you're on mute.
Oh, did I say anything? Did you hear anything I said?
About the last 10 seconds we missed, I think.
Something like, I really.
So I was really glad that we were able to attend. We asked some really good questions, and we got to hear a lot of their really important concerns. So I hope we, as a council, as staff, can continue to monitor the situation and make sure that the nurses in Seton Hospital is thriving. So that's it. Thank you, Dr. Rod, Vice Mayor.
Vice
Mayor? Councilmember Buenaventura. Councilmember DiGiovanni, go right ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to just add to that on the town hall, and just to let people know that, just a little reminder that the history of that these nurses have been through so much, from the different owners to the bankruptcy, from A1 AG when Kamala Harris was there, seeing them go through all this, and then they are literally bleeding nurses. So to say they're understaffed it's a safety issue. They have lost so many, some have come back per diem, but they were forced out by AHMC. Let me be clear. For those that support or are friends with or what have you, sit on boards with, they're for profit, okay, that's one thing. They are off the backs of our nurses. And it's been really bad emotionally, physically at Seton, and it's a responsibility. And they've kept it and try to negotiate contracts. They get a contract and then things don't follow through. There's no movement. So we are going to be having more. When I spoke to Julie, we are going to have more town halls moving forward, and to inform those that really haven't been around long enough or are not aware of some of the issues with all the questions that were asked. She's going to get answers, Councilmember Buenaventura's questions, that, you know, like to make sure that everybody's on board and that everybody's informed of what has been the issues, what's going to be the issues. And for those that have been there, we know what they are. So thank you very much, Vice Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember DiGiovanni, are there any other city council reports? Seeing none, are there any staff reports?
No, thank you, Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Shauna. Okay, that leads us to adjournment. Councilmember Ray Buenaventura.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. I would like us to adjourn in memory. I'm sorry, I didn't include it in your adjournment packet, but I'd like us to adjourn in memory of the late president, the 15th president of the Philippines, President Benigno Aquino III. He passed away just last week. He was someone that was very gracious, especially to us, the people in Daly City. I visited the Philippines, I think it was in 2013, when I was mayor, and I took a whole contingent of people, including Commissioner Perla, Barrientos, Dory Panisa, and the late Erlinda Galeon. And we had a really good time in it, and it was partly because of the hospitality the president extended us when he invited us to his palace and spent some time with us and talked to us. And of course, he mingled with us, let us take pictures with him, but he's just a very genuine, nice man. And the way he just, was so welcoming, and he's a good guy, and he did a lot of good for the country. And I want to thank him and acknowledge him and recognize him. May he rest in peace. Thank you.
Thank you. I believe we have one other adjournment memory. We have Mary Carr, who is Colby Carr's mother, who is a Daly City custodian. Are there any other adjournments in memory? I'd like to adjourn this meeting in their memory and offer a moment of silence. Oh, Annette, I have see Annette's hand up there. Ms. Apona?
Sorry, it went up by mistake.
Oh, no problem. Okay. So a moment of silence. Thank you. So that meeting, hopefully, Mayor, if you're watching, get well, and we'll see you next time in July. Bye-bye, everyone.